Okay, what we're going to go over today is going to be creating the Constitution. This is Chapter 5, Section 3. And there's a couple individuals we want to go over with. So let's go ahead and scroll this up a little bit. Ooh, I'm using a Cuomo pad with an actual smartboard. Had to pull out this old boy. I haven't used a Cuomo pad for years. Oh, there we go. Okay, so a little bit of review, real fast. We had the Constitutional Convention here. We just got done with this Articles of Confederation. Technically, that's our first Constitution. Okay, it is very weak. We have two individuals, James Madison, that we talked about, and also Alexander Hamilton. So James Madison is a very important person. We're going to get to him just right about now. And we're going to talk about him. And let's scroll down. This is the signing of the Constitution. Obviously, that's George Washington right there. There's Benjamin Franklin. All right, some key people there. All right, here we go. Constitutional Convention. James Madison, okay? So you got James Madison. Let's see. Let's see. We could do a couple things here. I don't know if I could do this. I'm gonna go ahead and just highlight this. All right, so here's James Madison. He is the father of the Constitution. So that is a big thing to know for the test. Okay, you have to know him. Father of the Constitution, James Madison. Another guy that comes on the scene here, and this is kind of an interesting individual. So it's Patrick Henry. He actually chose not to attend because he did not want a stronger central government. So he is afraid of, like a lot of other people, is a strong father kind of figure of a government, okay? Strong daddy. All right, so he doesn't even show up. Victory or death, give me liberty. Give me liberty or give me death actually doesn't show up. Now here is the next thing that you need to know for the exam, and that's this sentence right here, the last one. Women, African Americans, and Native Americans did not take part because they did not yet have the rights of citizens. So they did not take part whatsoever, okay, in this convention, and that's what's going on there, okay? So you need to know that for sure, okay? So those two things right there. So we're going to clear that, and I think we have to go back up for a minute because we have to, just a moment here, we'll go back up. Ooh, or not. Yeah, let's go down. So we're going to talk about the Great Compromise. This is the next one, but we're going to kind of skip Virginia for the moment because we're going to go to New Jersey, okay? All right, so these are the important things for New Jersey. This is the New Jersey plan. She's on the exam also, okay? Now, the thing on this one is it's a small state, okay? Virginia is the big state. Jersey is a small state. They want this unicameral. That means one, okay? Like a unicorn or a unicycle, right? Uniform, right? Everybody looks the same. So this is a one-house system, okay? This is the legislation. We don't have any, we don't have three branches of government yet. So this is unicameral. This is what they want because they want an equal voice, okay? They're afraid that if you get people in there like Virginia, and a lot of people that have more representation, and then they won't have a say. That's what's going on there. So they're going to come up with a compromise on that. So we'll go ahead and clear this, and then we'll slide this down. Yeah, that was the Virginia plan. That was a good job. All right, here is the compromise. This is called the Great Compromise, as a matter of fact. Okay, so this is what happens. You have a two-house system. This is called a bicameral system. This is what we have today. So you have two houses. You have what they call the upper, okay, which is going to be the Senate. That's the upper house, and then you have the lower house, okay, and that is going to be your house. Ooh, I forgot my U. House of Representatives, okay. Now this one is kind of like, since they are coming up with this agreement, this is the New Jersey plan, gave more power to the states' governments, okay, to state governments, unicameral, number of representatives are equal. All right, so this is kind of like the Senate. So this is going to come down here because you have you have 2 senators for each state. Okay, so that's the upper house. Now the lower house is going to be more of the Virginia plan, because she is going to be based on population. Okay, so those are the House of Representatives, and that's where you get that bicameral act. The red is representing New Jersey, and the blue is obviously representing Virginia. Okay, so that is on the test. You need to know that. That's the Great Compromise. And let's go ahead and, that's the Jersey plan. Let's see if we can make this out. It's a lot smoother. Okay, now what are we going to do with the slave issue? This has come up now because of representation. Let's see. What I want to do is talk about this. There is a debate. Okay, so when we talk about African Americans, we talk about enslaved African Americans. They wanted to be counted. Now this is the South. Okay, the South wants them because there's a lot of actually enslaved African Americans in the states, in the population. Okay, that has to do with power. This is all about power, representation. Okay, now the Northerners, they disagreed with this. Obviously, they wanted the number of slaves to determine the taxes, which would be taxing who heavily? The South would be taxed heavily, not on representation. Okay, and that way they would have a very low tax in the North, but then the South would have a very high tax. Okay, so they do come up with an agreement, and this is also on the exam right here. You have to understand this 3/5 compromise. Under this agreement, only 3/5 of that state's slave population would be counted when determining representation, and that's for all states. All right, not just southern and northern states, but every single state that we have in the Union. Okay, let's go ahead and clear that ink, and I just messed up. Clear ink. All right, we'll get back into this. I thought I was gonna do really well with this. I thought so. Okay, let's go down here to section 3 one more time. There we go. All right, now I'll get back on the chromo pad and not trust everything else out. All right, here we go. All right, New Jersey plan, we talked about that. And we talked about the compromise. And now we need to talk about popular sovereignty. Okay, this is actually, this is pretty simple. Most of the conventional delegates wanted a strong national government. Most. At the same time, they hope to protect popular sovereignty. What is it? It's the idea that political authority belongs to who? The people. Okay? Americans have boldly declared this in the idea of the Declaration of Independence. This is in the DOI, right? Okay? We the people. Okay? So we vote and we tell basically our electoral college which way we want to go, and they're supposed to follow that. There's been 5 times in our history that they have not, but that is the way it's supposed to actually happen. Okay, popular sovereignty. It's the idea that political authority belongs to the people. Okay, that is also on the exam as well. Okay, so you need to understand that. The next one is going to be federalism. Okay, now you saw this earlier. We've gone over this before. Okay, federalism is also on the exam. Is the actual sharing of power, and I've always done this, and it's taking a piece of paper and tearing it in half, and then it has to be equal. Okay, instead of taking a piece of paper and just taking a little nibble off, and this would be the federal power, and this would be the state's power, and that's the way it used to be. But then under federalism, we have that sharing of power between the central government. When we say central government, that's the federal government, that's your daddy, and the states, which is going to be your big brother, that actually make up our country. So sharing of power, that's called federalism. Both of those are going to be on the exam. Ooh, afraid to touch this. Okay, there we go. Clear ink. Right, set up right here, right now. Checks and balances. Okay, try to draw a good little. This comes from an older guy we talked about already. His name was Baron de Montesquieu, an old philosopher. So you have 3 branches of government. You have the legislative branch, the executive branch, judicial branch. Legislative branch, where he talked about that, That is that two houses, okay? We already talked about this legislative branch. You have the Senate, and you have the that's the upper house, and then you have the lower house, which is going to be the House of Representatives, okay? House of Rep, okay? Representatives. And then you have the executive branch. Obviously, that's going to be the president. And the first president of the United States under our current Constitution would be George Washington. And this he has actually, this includes departments. They have all kinds of individuals that run departments for the President of the United States, because it's a very, very large job to actually handle that one. The third and final branch is going to be the judicial branch, which is the judicial branch is made up of all the national courts. The big one that we know is the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is the big one, because that's usually in the spotlight an awful lot. Okay, and then checks and balances, you have to know what this is, which keeps any branch of government from becoming too powerful. Now, what they do there is, we'll go ahead and get rid of some of this. Checks and balances. Go ahead and get rid of this. Okay, so what we do is make a very interesting triangle here, and then we go ahead and put down the legislative branch, the judicial branch, and then the executive branch, and they're supposed to watch each other, okay, and make sure they actually follow what they're supposed to be doing, okay? That is the whole purpose, so that the one does not become more powerful than the other, okay? That is called checks and balances. I think that is the last point that I need to make. Let's clear the ink here and slide it down just a little bit and see what else we have left in the section, but I'm pretty sure that was the last bit of it. Legislative branch today. They talk about the House of Representatives, 65 members, stuff like that. That's the legislative branch, okay? Let's see. Yeah, that's how it first started, just 65 members. That's pretty interesting, all right? But now, today, the number actually has been set at 435, okay? So it's pretty interesting that it actually all wound up that way. So a lot of diversity of individuals there in our House of Representatives, which is very good. Constitution, we're talking about the strengths of the national government. You don't really need to know that. I think that is going to be it for Chapter 5, Section 3, about the, we went over a lot of good stuff here, right, in a very short time. Because I could talk about one of these pretty much for a whole period. So, creating Constitution, Chapter 5, Section 3, you are now in the know, and I want you to have a wonderful day.